Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you all kindly for joining me. This is for Sunday. It's May 19th, 2024. So I was hoping to get this out earlier, but there is so much going on. I've got a lot to go over with you. So we are looking at a week of turmoil, and there is an old adage for the market. It says to sell in May and go away because it's typically when the market drops. Is that true for this year? We'll see. But let's go right into some of the backgrounds for this. We've got our main risk indicator is increasing in risk. Currently, the MMRI is sitting at 287. We're still below that extreme territory, but it is climbing. We've got the greed indicator very firmly into the greed zone and climbing as well. So with this, we've got markets looking at a continuation. Headline risk is increasing. We're going to take this day by day for you. But as I said, there's a lot I would like to go over with you. So the Dow Jones hit an all-time high of 40,000. So this is suggesting a robust market. However, I would like to remind you that the market is completely disconnected from the economy. The economy is having some very serious issues. We've got unemployment rising and spending decreasing, debt rising to incredible levels. So, with all of this, inflation is going to continue. There won't be basically a reprieve from that. It's just slowing at the pace that it increases. So, we're going to be watching China's, they're dumping US debt, basically getting out of the United States dollar. We've got BRICS on the rise. So, with all of this, we've got Michael Burry's up here, but he's not the only one. Central banks as well are turning to gold as a safe haven asset. So, these are all financial experts, central banks increasing their gold holdings. We had silver jump, we'll go over that in a minute. So gold is going at record levels. So I just want to say a note here, none of this is financial advice. However, there's a huge difference between physical gold and either ETFs or mining certificates, which I do not recommend. So gold miners have headwinds as well with energy. They can also be regulated or taken over by government entities. ETFs have their own issues. So physical gold or silver in your possession. So let's move forward. So this move into gold does suggest a lack of confidence in fiat currencies, basically the dollar or the euro, and that everybody is moving to tangible assets, which is what we've been recommending for a while. So we are looking towards possible stagflation. It is a growing concern, and we'll be looking at that as well. So we've got current administration attempting to sanction China. So sanctions have proven ineffective, and if anything, lately they've been bolstering the companies or the countries that we are sanctioning. There's Freudian slip there because many countries are simply companies in disguise, US included. So let's go over a calendar that we're looking forward to. Basically, we're going to be looking mostly at speeches by several Fed officials. We're getting the FOMC meeting minutes. So this is all going to be a guided market in accordance with what they say because they're looking forward towards rate cuts. So with this, the economic indicators and reports we're actually getting, we're looking at manufacturing services PMI, durable goods orders, and then also some home sales. We're nearing the end of earnings season, but the huge one everyone is watching is NVIDIA on Wednesday. So these are some of the others throughout the week, and we're kind of wrapping that up. NVIDIA has the potential to move the markets as well. So let's go into what's going on behind this. We've got someone suggesting the 30-year Treasury bond is the best hedge against a hard landing. I disagree, but there's many people that would like to go into treasuries. I just find that the world landscape is changing as far as United States sovereign debt and could be downgraded again. So with all of this, we've just been talking about precious metals. Platinum, also another one. We've got silver breaking past 30. It's the highest it's been since 2013. So over what is it, over a decade. So far this year alone, it's up 25% year to date. So definitely a run into commodities. So not all commodities are like oil is pressured by geopolitical risk as well. If there is an announcement of war, expect oil to shoot through the roof. If it does, oil going up is highly inflationary. So looking at from Tokyo to New York, stock markets hitting unprecedented highs. This is all on the back of all of this money printing, inflation, and risk. So we've got Russia freezing uh, credit assets from Deutsche Bank, Commerzbank, and Unicredits. This is in the geopolitical, basically currency wars going on with resources. We'll go more into that in a bit. Had an issue with Google. They basically deleted an entire pension fund's account, took them down for about 2 weeks. Fortunately, this pension fund had a backup with a different company. $135 billion pension fund. So these are the large market movers. I tend to think there's a little bit more in the background of this that they're not letting out, that Google, such a mega corporation, and this is what they're geared towards, could have this issue. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. What we're watching in the background, we're watching our personal freedoms erode, not just in the United States, but also moving abroad globally. So we've got locally the Department of Justice setting to launch what they're calling a red flag initiative, and they're putting it under beautiful names like Safer Communities, and that is your red flag to understand. You ought to read that a little bit closer, because anytime they put a nice name on something, it usually means there's something they don't want you to look at. So we've got the director of the FBI warning Americans of a possible coordinated attack on the homeland. So this is basically a move to get more funding from Congress. We know that they're going to spend more in multiple areas, and they're also looking to get more personnel. But there is a true internal threat, but this has been built by design to destabilize and weaken any local quote unquote groups. And this is an excuse to basically, in my opinion, introduce more draconian legislature, basically put these laws into place and lock down the American individual. Leave me your opinion in the comments. I'm probably going to lose some viewers from this, but there are a few other communications I want to bring up. One of them notably is called Signal. And then we've also got Proton Mail. These are basically messaging and email platforms. They may not be exactly what they are purposed for. Some of those were started with funding from the FBI, from the CIA. So we need to take a little closer look at these things, because if these red flags go into effect, basically, they can look through all of your emails and use anything you have ever said, posted, tweeted, or anywhere on the web against you. Okay, and before someone tells me this is fear mongering, please write me personally. I'd like to show you exactly why. I cannot see it here. So, what we're watching going abroad, this geopolitical risk, we've got a mobilization law coming into force. This is for Ukraine. How does this affect us globally, not just the United States? So, they are struggling to boost the troop numbers. We've got Ukrainian truckers, they're protesting against this law, and they've got a problem here. So dozens of trucks blocked key highway connecting Kiev to the port of Odessa on Saturday. But what's also happening is basically they are abandoning their trucks at the border, not going back to Ukraine, because as soon as they do and cross that border back, they're basically being kidnapped and conscripted into service. So they're so low on people. They have lost so many people have died there. So now we've got NATO members, and this is ridiculous, quote unquote, considering sending troops to Ukraine, according to the New York Times. The truth is they're already there. They've been there for a couple of weeks. This has been admitted to. We've got Ukraine now outright on the top of the table asking NATO to send troops for the first time since the war began. That's not true. He's been asking for quite some time. Troops have been in there. They basically deploy them to the border on Ukraine's side, and we've got multiple. They're going from UK. They are going from Germany, being deployed there, being deployed from the United States, as well as other countries. So with this, we've got Russia basically firing back a warning. And this is saying that the West is playing with fire since they have increased their attacks on the Russian border. Regions using NATO supplied missiles and bombs, they are collecting them for evidence. However, that doesn't really matter because if Moscow has strikes on Russian soil, they will retaliate. And they right now, I'll go into a little bit more of that in a moment, but they are also bolstering all of their things. So this is all, on the large part, it's a distraction from what's going on. However, with the selection cycle coming up in November, I firmly believe they're going to use war, as they have done in the past, basically to cover over what is going on with the currency war on the economic forefront, and then also to manipulate these selections as they need. So going a little further, we've got US fearing undersea cables vulnerable to espionage from Chinese repair ships. So all of the underwater, basically fiber connected internet, those are repaired by China. So as they're repairing them, what they're talking about is they could basically insert a copy mechanism that would spy on any internet traffic on these major undersea cables. But the United States does not have the repair ships needed to go over their own lines. So they're hiring China to do this. Okay, what else are we watching? This came out. Helicopter carrying Iranian president crashes. So Ebrahim Raisi suffered a quote unquote hard landing. So what do you think about this? Coincidence? Let me know if he just got a terrible pilot. So we've got the European Union will not recognize Taiwan. We're watching this polarization shift. So any possibility of military escalation over the self-governing island should be excluded. The head of the European Union bloc, they're afraid of basically getting more into massive troubles. We've got France in the meantime claiming they have successfully cracked down in the Pacific. So this is New Caledonia. If you haven't heard of it, it's basically closer to Australia. They've had riots, and this is over the voting policy. So France basically giving French citizens voting rights over the native population there. And so they put in heavily armed troops. They annexed this island. They basically usurped it, and they're exerting force over it now to basically force them into compliance. So that should kind of open your eyes a bit. So with this, we've got behind the Putin visit to China. There's unease in China because he is also going to North Korea potentially next. So a lot of this is speculatedly over weaponry. However, the alliances that are building are something worth watching. So with all of this, we can navigate this, and I'll keep you up to date basically as these come out. I'm not going to leave you out to this. I'd like to hear in your comments about the secure communications and alternatives. If you've got a thought on that, I'm also looking more into that. And I'll probably have a lot of evening on this, not during the morning. So with that, see you in the morning. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.